This is Chase Utley, and this is the Phillies Show.
Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki. It's the Phillies Show. It's Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Hope everybody is doing most excellent during the All-Star break. We're all getting our mental breathers.
Partying down in Chesapeake Inn, baby. I'm going to give my man Gianmarco Marticelli some love because this place is awesome. And Todd, you're in the Scotty. I need to talk about that background shot.
I'm in Wisconsin. I'm at my parents' house. Family flew out. We're spending the week out here.
I need a shot of that bar.
Yeah, so this is the bar in my parents' basement. It's the only quiet spot I have. So
little Campari.
I've got all
Tanqueray.
Sorts. I got the Drambuie here if I want to make myself a rusty nail later, you know. Got all sorts of cool stuff. There's like these old. My dad found these you can't see them off screen, but like these old almost like newspapers, but they're like cardboard cutouts of like the daily baseball results. And like
not the cardboard cutout of Robin Yount.
No, this is.
I
wonder if I can pull this on the wall real quick. I gotta show you this. This is pretty cool. So I don't know what this is, but this is like from they sent out all these results, baseball results. Chuck Klein hit a home run that day. Babe Ruth hit 2 that day. It's kind of cool. So
very cool.
Got some cool stuff down here, you know.
You got a Harvey's wall banger.
Make a Harvey's wall banger later. A lot of Brewers
remember Harvey Keene?
Do I remember Harvey Keene? Come on,
Harvey's wall bangers. That was a great nickname.
That was a great nickname, great team. That's the team that kind of got me.
What was unique about Harvey Keene?
I mean, he had a wooden leg.
He had a wooden leg. He could drink forever.
You know, I read a lot about Harvey Keene. Of course, was a great baseball player. Then he managed the Brewers, and he had a wooden leg. And as the story was told, the 82 Brewers, they did tell this story over the years that players occasionally would steal Harvey's leg and hide it in the clubhouse.
I love it.
Yeah,
He'd
have to hop around and try to find it, and they would kind of goof on him. So, but they loved their manager though. It wasn't because they were making fun of him; they just loved the guy. So.
Didn't Buddy Kennedy tell you some of those stories when his grandfather played there?
Yeah, he told me. Yeah, his grandfather was Don Money. So I was like, tell me, you got any good Brewer stories? And he told a lot of great Bob Uecker stories. And the Harvey Keene stuff was just, legendary. And he basically confirmed that stuff did happen. Because I said, I read this. Did that actually? I was like, oh yes, that stuff happened. That stuff 100% happened.
That's great.
Yeah, great stuff. That's just fantastic. So I'm home. I'm home this week doing a little fishing up north. We call it up north, like northern Wisconsin. We call it up north. So we're going up north.
I heard the mosquitoes are like 747s up there.
State bird, my man.
I like to figure out whether or not the ones in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada are as big as the ones in Wisconsin, because
I'll take some pictures.
Yeah, please do. We should have a mosquito off.
So Tuesday's episode, we did a look back at the first half. Today, I think we should look ahead at the second half. And, different things that need to happen, big storylines, right? And so I think it's time to start with the Parks Casino first pitch. First pitch is brought to us exclusively by our partners at Parks Casino, Pennsylvania's #1 casino. So we talk about the Phillies, guys, and we've talked about this a little bit the past several weeks. We talked about it on Tuesday even. Storyline for me, maybe the #1 storyline is, I know everybody's going to talk about the bullpen, right? You gotta fix that bullpen. It's leaking oil at times. It's not very consistent. It scares you to death in the late innings. But for me, when I watch this team, I go, are they going to have enough offense? And so for me, the #1 storyline in the second half is, can Bryce Harper return to form? Can Jim, you said this, and Ruben, you said this Tuesday. Can the $20 million players return to form? Can they start hitting for some power? The one thing that kind of makes me nervous about the second half is, maybe they don't address the offense and some of these guys don't step up. But even if, those guys have to step up regardless. So Bryce Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, Bohm, all those guys.
I agree with you, because if they address the offense with maybe an outfield right-handed bat, it might be like a platoon guy or, kind of a marginal pickup. It might not be a big name, because I think they're going to use their trade capital or their big move in the bullpen. And I've seen it before. I've seen Bryce carry this team, carry other teams. Player of the month last year, May and June.
Yeah.
That down the stretch, second half of his MVP season, we've just seen him put, in Schwarber's been great, but they just need more in the offensive department. And I think if Bryce can put together 2, Bryce Harper months, this team is going to be really in a good position. I think his just rising up and being Bryce again is the most important thing that can happen to this team, because they need to score more runs and give that bullpen more breathing room. Give the starting rotation more breathing room. 500 team. There are 500 teams since June 1. 500 team. They're 19-19 since June 1.
Yeah.
And they've scored 2 or less runs 14 times in those 38 games. 2 or less runs. As much as we look at the bullpen, and it's huge, they got to fix it. They need more offense. Bryce Harper's the guy that can do it, because he makes everybody around him better. Everybody drafts off him in that lineup.
And we've talked about this, and you're right. The big boys have to come through, but they also have to get some production from guys like Bryson Stott and maybe even Kepler. Because I think the one move that they will make at some point, you're going to see Crawford come here. He's not going to be the savior. Mm-hmm. He's going to be here. He's going to play center field, because I'm not enamored with the way center field is being patrolled right now. And I'm not enamored with the overall production in the back part of the lineup. So I think Crawford may be a guy that they add to this club. And I do believe that there's going to be a platoon situation in left field. I think Otto Kemp's going to get more at bats. He has quality at bats. He had a tough game, his last game in San Diego. But I like the quality of his at bats. I think he's going to be a contributor against left-handed pitching. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have to get contributions from Edmundo Sosa against left-handed pitching, because I don't think Stott's going to be playing against left-handers. And I think you're going to see a strict platoon with Stott and with the left fielder. And those guys are going to have to figure out, ways to produce and help this team in the back part of the lineup. True. All of this point is moot if Bryce Harper doesn't become Bryce Harper, because if he doesn't, then their ability to score runs is going to be diminished greatly. And not to put more pressure on the man, but he deserves the pressure, and he usually responds very well to pressure.
Yeah, a lot of expectations on that guy when he came here, and still a lot of expectations. He wants a World Series badly. He wants it on his resume badly. Mm-hmm. He needs to, he's had the wrist problem, but he's got to be healthy, and he's got to be Bryce Harper. He's got to be that guy that can put a team on its back, and that would really lift this offense big time. Hey, that's been First Pitch, brought to you exclusively by our partners at Parx Casino. That's Pennsylvania's #1 casino, parxcasino.com. You must be 21, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Phillies fans, whether you're sliding into home or just chasing your kids around the yard, staying mobile matters. That's why we trust Rothman Orthopedics. From sports injuries to joint replacements, they keep you moving. With top specialists who care for the best team and best fans in baseball, Rothman's got your back, because at Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility is their mission. Visit RothmanOrtho.com to schedule today.
The way to buy, sell, or trade your cards is Arena Club. It is the top marketplace in the biz to get that done. And Kratz, we love the slab pack situation, because rolling through a ton of cards, physically opening them, finding all kinds of commons that end up folded or in the garbage is old news. Why not get a slab pack and get a chance at a card worth thousands of dollars?
I was a common card. It's okay if you don't get me in your slab pack, because you put as little as $25 for a slab pack, and you could pull out something that's worth thousands of dollars. And it's a keepsake that you get to like, wait, you know what? It might be worth this much today, but I get to watch the value grow.
And right now you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/foul and use the code FOUL. That's 20% off your first card purchase or slab pack at arenaclub.com/foul, code FOUL.
We're back. Second storyline going into the second half to me is the Phillies rotation. Now they have been unbelievable, of course, in the first half. I talked about this Tuesday, like the fourth best performance by any rotation at the break in this century. 2011 Phillies at the top of the list, 2025 Phillies fourth in that list. So they've got to keep it up. They've got to stay healthy, but there's a lot of different things to consider here. When does Aaron Nola come back? What does he look like when he comes back? Then what happens with Taijuan Walker? When's Andrew Painter going to come up? What's he going to do? Are they going to do a 6-man rotation? Is Ranger Suárez going to be able to stay healthy? He was complaining about a shoulder and an elbow thing a couple starts ago. He looked pretty good this last time out. Is Mick Abel trade bait? Is he gone? The rotation guys, second half, can they keep it up? How confident are you in their ability to keep it up going forward?
Well, I do think that they're solid. I think that they've done a pretty good job, and they've got a pretty heavy workload on them. But I think they're managing it. I think they managed it well. I think the fact that none of these guys are pitching during the All-Star break is a big one. And they're not involved in the All-Star. Disappointment that Christopher Sanchez and Suarez and Wheeler are not in it. But for the team's sake, I think it's a good thing. I really love the depth. I love the fact that you're trading for what could be if Nola comes back and he's close to where he was the last couple of years. You're talking about a solid middle of the rotation starter that can add to the depth. And I mean, you're talking about a pretty damn good fifth starter if you're bringing Nola back and he is healthy. So I like that. I like the fact that who knows what's going to happen as far as the trade deadline is concerned. But if you get into August, you get to the point where you can now start maneuvering. Okay, who do I want to slide into that bullpen? Now that I have some pitching depth, starting pitching depth, who slides into that bullpen? Is it Luzardo? That would be the guy for me because I think your first three guys for me right now, and probably your fourth guy, if he's healthy, is Nola. So I'm thinking, you got two right-handers in Wheeler and Nola. You got two quality left-handers in Ranger Suárez and Christopher Sanchez. And then you slide Luzardo into the bullpen to bring up, be firing that 99 to 100-mile-an-hour fastball with the filthy sweeper and a nasty changeup. Pretty damn awesome in a bullpen scenario if he's throwing, you have to get him acclimated to doing that maybe in September and then, work him into it in October. I know a lot of people have talked about Ranger being that guy, but the way Ranger's starting, the way he's pitching, and the difference in the types of pitcher that he is versus some of the other guys in the rotation, I think it's a great mix. So I at the very least, I like the top three guys as Suárez, Wheeler, and Sanchez, not necessarily obviously in that order.
I agree. Rotation is a big storyline going forward. It's a big reason they're a first place club at the break. It's been the most consistent element really on their team. You want them to continue doing what they're doing, and that starts with good health. If they're healthy, I think they're going to perform. So you need to keep those guys healthy. On the health question, Nola has missed most of the first half. With a couple of, it was an ankle and then the rib cage. And honestly, I don't think either one of them were serious injuries. This whole thing with Aaron Nola sounds like a reset to me, or at least part of it. I'm not doubting he had injuries, but I just think there's this byproduct to it all, that it's a reset. It's a mental break. It's a physical break, and whatever you want to call it. And I'm just very curious to see how he comes back, if he comes back really fresh from this break. And it's like a home stretch drive for him. He could almost be like a hired gun. But we're not going to go for a while because I don't expect to see him in the rotation until mid-August. And then, 6 or 7 weeks, he should be able to put the pedal to the metal. So that's a nice boon for this rotation, potentially. I know Andrew Painter has not put up good numbers at AAA. It's a head scratcher. But I still think we're going to see him here at some point. I still believe we're going to see him here at some point. If we don't, we don't. And I still think he has a chance to be a great pitcher and pitch in this rotation for a long time. I'm not going to read too much into it if he's not. But I still think he gets here, gets his feet wet, and I wouldn't be surprised if he contributes because I think once he's here, some adrenaline is going to really kick in for that guy.
And do we think
one other thing I'll say about Painter? I think Painter's not going to come until he's really throwing well. Right now, he's not real sharp. He's not dominating. I don't know whether it's because he's bored, as Jim may have suggested, which is a possibility because he's been waiting. This is time. It's time for him. It's time for him. Maybe he's just not bearing down. I don't think that's in his nature, but it's possible. But he's going to have to perform. He needs to perform to get called up to the big leagues, and he needs to earn it. Because if he's not earning it, then I don't think that's the right thing to do. There's other guys down there, Abel in particular, who went down there and pitched pretty well in his first start when he went back down, who probably right now deserves to be in the big leagues before Andrew Painter does.
Probably.
Do we think so? If Painter comes up, is it strictly going to be as part of a 6-man rotation? The way
him and Nola could piggyback out of the gate because they're going to watch Nola a little bit early.
Yeah,
and they're going to watch him. Even if he comes here and he's dealing, I don't think you'll ever see him pitch more than 5 innings. But he does have to get here, and I mean, the power stuff is there. It sounds like he just doesn't have that Andrew Painter finish that they've seen in the past. Maybe that's slow coming back from Tommy John. I don't know, but it's a head scratcher. He hasn't pitched better.
A lot of home runs. I feel like, he's been, just, giving up, every time I look at his line score, I feel like there's 2 or 3 in there. It's a lot of home runs lately. And then, but it was Ruben interesting. I guess I should have thought of that, but the idea that, if Nola comes back and if Painter does come up, or if Painter doesn't come up, one of those guys is going to have to go to the bullpen and get Luzardo acclimated. If it's going to be Luzardo, it might be somebody else. I don't know. But then you have September to kind of get him adjusted to that role, which is going to be so important once the postseason starts because you need more reliable arms down there. So I love that idea.
I mean, if you don't get Alvarado back, because you're not going to get him for the playoffs, you got to have, and they don't trade for a left-hander in the bullpen, then you're sitting there with Tanner Banks and Strom, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have another left-hander and Luzardo.
Yeah,
that's a weapon out of that bullpen for me. And hopefully everybody's healthy enough so that they can make that choice.
So this brings us up to the storyline number 3, which is how is the bullpen addressed? Can it produce in the second half down the stretch? Will you be able to turn on a game if you're watching at home in September and October with a 1-run lead, 2-run lead late in the game and feel good about the team's chances of doing it? So how far do you guys, gun to your head right now, how far do they go to improve this bullpen? They go out and get Clase, a big guy. They give up. Is Aiden Miller gone, or Ty Eaton, Arun Escobar? How far do they go for this?
I think those guys in A-ball definitely going to be in play.
Yeah,
I don't think either one of those guys are going to hold up a big deal. Miller might not. Sometimes I wonder about Crawford because he's the closest of all of them, and a real need at the position he plays, center field, left field. So. I'm not saying he's untouchable, but there's a variable there that, he might be here soon at an area of need. So I think everybody's on the table. Abel, I don't think Painter is. But you never know what opportunity comes down the road. If something intriguing comes down the road, we'll see. I mean, Clase has one of the best contracts in baseball. I don't even know if he's available. Is he available? I mean, I hear his name. One of the real challenges of this time of year is separating the good from the bad, the real stuff from the BS. Right. He's got a great contract. I don't know that the Indians are going to trade him, but maybe not. But I would keep an eye on that Minnesota bullpen. It is teeming with good arms. It is teeming with guys with big strikeout numbers. I'm talking like 4 guys. Yes, it is teaming with the type of guys they need. The closer, Duran. I mean, that Varland guy's having a great year. Colombe, Jax. If you get 2 of them, I would keep an eye on Baltimore with Bautista. Maybe Bautista and Seranthony. There's a big guy and a secondary guy. You never know. Maybe Bautista and Laureano, the outfielder, right-handed bat. Yeah. Having a very nice year. Plays with some tude. I like him. But maybe you don't go down the Baltimore road again. But those are the 2 teams I'm really watching.
Interesting.
I like it. Hey, listen, I think that I don't think there's any question that Dave Dombrowski's hell-bent on trying to improve this team, and there's a lot of prospects in play. Let's just put it that way.
It's such I mean, there's no snap your fingers, though, even if they would get 2 guys from the Minnesota or 2 guys from Baltimore, so many other things, that's I mean, Ruben, you were in those shoes, man. Like that's the part that would just keep me up at night going, I'm going to trade Aiden Miller and Eduardo Tait and Arud Escobar or whoever it might be. And man, is this offense going to hit come the NLC wild card series? Are they going to be able to win 2 games in a wild card series, or if they win the division, are they going to be able to win 3 games in the division series? That would keep.
It's always a crapshoot, man, and sometimes you just got to. Sometimes you got to risk it.
Yes, that's what I
risk it.
Yes,
man, bold. Hey, when you got a chance to win, and this team has a chance to win, it's very, very. It would be disappointing with this sort of rotation to not add to it, because you really do have a legitimate chance of winning a World Series with this rotation. Yes, the other pieces and the parts have to produce. The offense has to produce, but you got a real chance to shut down teams with at least 3 of these starters, and that's a really good percentage.
An historically good rotation. Take advantage of that.
If they don't improve this bullpen, and I feel funny saying that because I am very 100% confident they will. I am 100% confident he's going to get a dominant arm, and he's going to give up something big, and it's going to sting. But on the chance that they don't, the veteran offensive players in that clubhouse are going to be very disappointed.
No doubt about
you ain't kidding.
No doubt about that. So All-Star game is over. It's Wednesday. Phillies resume play on Friday against the Angels. Open up the second half against the Angels.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about – I'm interrupting you, Todd. I'm sorry. Once upon a time, the Angels would have created all this buzz because Mike Trout was coming to town. Yeah. Now there's like no buzz because he's had these – unfortunately, he's been hurt a lot. He's not the Mike Trout of old because of the injuries, and he doesn't get on the field as much. There just doesn't seem to be that buzz.
You're right about that. You're right. And I forgive me. Has he even played in the outfield since he came back? I know he was DHing for the longest time. I don't even know if he's back out in the outfield yet, but it didn't sound
sure.
He's not a guy that, even if he was, even if the Angels called you up tomorrow and said, "Hey, do you want Mike Trout?" I mean, you need him to play. You need to play in the outfield.
And he's owed $200 million, right?
He's owed a lot of money. He's owed a lot of money. I mean, that'd be fun. But Friday night, Phillies resume play against the Angels. Begin the second half. If you want to follow along the action, make it a little bit more interesting, Ruben, you have some ideas.
Yeah, no doubt. But it does create a little bit of a buzz for me, Jim, because my man Mark Gubasa is one of the color analysts on TV, and he was my old teammate and the man that I got my very first extra base hit against. And
is that right?
High school teammate.
And my very first RBI against, believe it or not.
Really?
I was pitching when I was playing for the Angels myself and against the Kansas City Royals. That is a true story in 1991.
Weren't you high school teammates as well?
We were high school teammates, yes. And he's a great, great human being. But, you can do a little live betting, and you can do that through what is one of the, if not the best apps there is. It's way better on the Bet Parks app, and you can bet game combos, player performances, and more on the Bet Parks app. And listen, there's something called the Bet Wire, and it is right now live right inside the BetParks app. You got to think sort of TikTok-ish for people that love sports betting rather than dance tracks. Bet Wire is the all-new sports betting live feed right inside the BetParks app with quick videos, hot takes, game predictions, and more from sports betting content creators all across the country. Scroll down a little bit on that app, and you have Taylor Pick with a simple tap and get fired up with BetWire, the live sports betting app content feed right inside the BetParks app. Plus, check out these new games on the BetParks app, Huff and More Puff, Mega Fire Blaze, the Flintstones, plus Money Horse. New casinos can actually get up to $1,000 back. You got to see betparks.com for T's and C's. You must be 21 in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland to use that BetParks app. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You love to play. You love to win. You bet BetParks app.
Storyline number 4 for me, the kiddos. We kind of touched on all these guys. Ruben, you mentioned at the very beginning, Justin Crawford. You think he's going to come up at some point. We believe Andrew Painter is going to come up at some point. Maybe McAbel comes back at some point. Maybe he's traded. Maybe he's used in a trade. Ruben, when you said Justin Crawford could come up at some point, whose spot does he take? And how does that work?
He's coming to the big leagues, and I think they're going to have to make some type of roster move because they're not really making either you have to send a guy like Johan Rojas out, or you have to make some sort of roster move with Kepler because he just hasn't produced. Mm-hmm. And the question is Crawford going to give you more offensive and defensively than what Kepler brings you in left field on the daily? And Kepler hasn't done it. I know that they're hoping that he does. I was in the same mindset with Jim and you, Todd, about how he looked in the spring and how he might produce for this team. He just hasn't done it, hasn't gotten comfortable. And now, I mean, I thought it said a lot when Otto Kemp played against the right-hander in the last game prior, to this first half being over against San Diego. I know Kemp did not have a great day. Punched out a few times, but it says a lot. And I think they need to find out whether Otto Kemp can be at least a platoon in left field. And unless Kemp starts to produce at some point in the next month or next couple of weeks, I would not be surprised if some move is made to bring a guy like Crawford and do some juggling with that outfield.
So with all the question marks in the outfield, at center field and left field, and Crawford's relevance to both positions, is he on the table for a trade for you, Ruben?
He's on the table for a trade if you're able to really bring back something quality, because he's so close. You really have to have somebody who's going to make immediate impact with your major league team. I don't know if you move a Justin Crawford unless you're getting a guy who's either locking down that ninth inning, and you're doing it for a guy who's not just knocking down the ninth inning for a month and a half, but he's doing it for another few years. That's the only way I would move a guy like Crawford, because he's so close and could really impact my major league team in the short term.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm a little bit careful with him because he's so close, and
correct.
It's an area of need.
Yep.
Man, he produces at every level too. I know everybody talks about his ground ball rate, and he's not getting the ball in the air. 300 batting average everywhere he goes.
It still means something.
Getting on base, yeah, base hits. Unless you're Trey Turner, and then you still don't make the All-Star team.
Right.
Last storyline for me, guys, number 5 going into the second half, or in the second half, is, do you think they sign anybody to a contract extension before the end of the season? Kyle Schwarber, talked to him on Friday night after he hit that 30th home run in San Diego, and said, hey, do you think there's a chance that that you could get something done before the end of the season, or do you think at this point that ship has sailed and let's let things happen in the offseason. And Kyle said, honestly, I haven't talked to anybody in a while. I don't know, he's going to say that. But he said, my guys are going to be at the All-Star game. Maybe there are some conversations still to be had. Maybe we do get something done. But maybe we don't. If we don't, I'm still going to play my butt off and try to help the team win the World Series. I think if they're going to sign anybody to a contract extension in season, it's probably going to be Kyle Schwarber. Do you guys agree, disagree? Do you think there's any shot at JT? Do you think there's any shot at Ranger? I know before the season started, all three of us said probably no chance that Ranger comes back. Opinions change on that?
Not really. I would agree with you. If anybody signs between now and the end of the season, probably be Schwarber. I think Ranger could end up being a budget cut. And as much as he's a great pitcher, it'd be great to have him back. I just think they're knee deep in humongous contracts, and they need to bring back Schwarber. And they might have some young pitching coming that, if all goes well, can move into Ranger's spot and maybe someday perform adequately to fill it. I don't know, but and I think JT is probably going to be, go out and kind of like he was last time, go out and see what's out there and come back to us. And we'd like to do a 2-year deal, as we talked about in the last couple podcasts ago. Zach Wheeler's already stumping for him, and Zach Wheeler's going to be around 2 more years, so maybe a 2-year extension would make sense there. But that's probably the way I see it.
I disagree with you about this. I do think that JT will sign a multi-year deal before the end of the season, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because one, starting pitching is their biggest strength. 2, they need somebody to catch that starting pitching, and JT's the guy, because there's nobody that's close in the big leagues who is that guy. Taiit got a chance to be that guy in a few years, but he's not ready, and he may be traded. So I do think that there's some connection between the fact that his availability and the fact that they lock up a guy like JT. The other factor here is Abel and Painter are coming, and if they're not traded, they are going to be guys that need to be managed through games by JT. So I think there's a whole slew of reasons why it's important to sign them, why I would sign them and be preemptive about it. On a short-term deal, I wouldn't do a long-term deal with the guy, but I just think he brings so much to the table as far as preparing, managing players, catching guys, and the fact that Zach Wheeler is basically his guy. And I think those factors, a lot of those factors are one of the reasons why he may sign before Schwarber does.
Those are great points, especially the ones about Abel and Painter managing those guys. You might trade Taiit. To me, that all gives JT leverage. So why wouldn't he go out?
That's why you try to sign him now before you trade Taiit.
I got it. Yeah.
But I don't know. That if he had that leverage, he could go out of the market, maybe get more than a 2-year deal from the Phillies. You sound like you have some inside info. What are you holding out on us?
I got nothing. I'm just thinking. I mean, I'm thinking as a GM. I used to be one. Unless you guys forget.
I remember.
I think you're holding out on us.
I just feel like there is an incentive to do that, and so that the leverage is not created. Go out there and sign him to the 2-year deal. Be aggressive with it. Get it done, and then it opens up possibilities of doing some other things.
So not only are you saying he could sign before the end of the season, you're saying he could sign before the end of the month.
I like that.
I think you got inside info, and you're holding out on us.
I wish I did.
That'd be great. We got to break news on the Philly show. You know what I mean? We got to break news on the Philly show.
I don't got it. I wish I did.
But his impact on that pitching staff, we've talked about this so much. People always ask, you talk about Kyle Schwarber and his leadership. I always say you cannot oversell how, big he is in the clubhouse in terms of leadership. JT, same thing with the pitching staff. I'm telling you, every pitcher in that clubhouse loves throwing that guy, and they all talk him up big time. Zach,
he's dedicated and he cares. He's dedicated and cares about his pitchers. And
he's a good man.
And he is a solid clubhouse man.
he gets the crap kicked out of him in the game. I mean, you see this guy drop like a freaking boxer in a heavyweight fight against Mike Tyson over and over again. And it's like it was like one game he left recently, and I think everybody thought the same thing. Is like, he must be really hurt if he's leaving the game, because that guy never leaves a game.
Oh, when he got hit in the groin.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, when he got
growing.
hit. Yeah.
In his testes.
Yes.
The fruit ball.
Yeah, the fruit ball. That was that's the only time that JT will leave a game. That guy,
his baby makers.
Yeah, that guy is man of steel, the man of steel. So, all right. Well, we will be back later this week to talk more Phils. That was fun, guys. So if you missed Tuesday's episode, go check that out. We kind of wrap up the first half, and we'll figure out something to talk about later this week.
Looking forward to it. Smell you later, boys.
Smell you, Jim.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like us, give us a review. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and Threads. Find Ruben's analysis before, during, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Find Jim at allphly.com. Find me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and MLB Network.